So you worked as a field organizer for the Kamala Harris campaign in Virginia. You led a team of 100 volunteers.
Yeah.
Hello, Rohan. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Hello, everyone. This is Akulina. You are listening to Coffee with Lina podcast. Of the people, by the people, for the people. It denotes democracy. My today's guest is Rohan Mani, who has worked as a field organizer for Kamala Harris campaign in Northern Virginia. Interned on Capitol Hill with the great leaders. Graduated from Georgetown University Walsh School of Foreign Service with a major in international politics. Hello, Rohan. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Yes, it's a beautiful day.
Yes.
Yes, I'm really happy to have you today in my podcast channel. And yes, I have a lot of questions about. I'm really curious to know how you manage the things with Kamala, like the campaign of the Kamala Harris. So you worked as a field organizer for the Kamala Harris campaign in Virginia. You led a team of 100 volunteers.
Yeah.
What are your takeaways from this extensive experience, and can you please share a sneak peek of your entire experience?
Yeah, of course. So the campaign cycle itself is quite a brutal work schedule. It's you work 7 days a week for about 8 to 9 hours a day because there's limited time to try and get the word out and reach as many voters as you can in that short time period. I think for me, entering my first campaign experience, I think something that was really cool was kind of seeing the different backgrounds of the people that work there. You know, we all different ages from age 20 to age 40, all in different stages of our lives. Some are married, some are just graduated college, some are some worked in the nonprofit field, some, came from politics to work on the campaign specifically. And I think seeing everyone with such different, diverse, unique backgrounds all come together for one shared purpose, one shared goal of trying to elect Kamala Harris, I think was really inspirational as well. I think something that was really cool is you mentioned the 100 volunteers. A lot of these people were as young as teenagers, 17, 18, who wanted to fight for their reproductive rights. Or you see, a lot of our volunteers are senior citizens, 70, 80 years old, who wanted to try and see the first woman president. And I think something that was really cool was this idea of everyone coming together from all these different places and saying, okay, here's our mission, let's work together and try and achieve this mission. And I think that as a whole experience itself was really inspirational to see their dedication.
Yes, and the eye-opening also, I feel.
Of course.
Yes, you have placed a 2.2 million phone calls, like 2.9 million text messages. It's
the campaign
not easy.
Overall, yes.
And
a lot of work.
Always working in the morning with the campaign manager.
Yes.
So it's not easy task.
Of course, yeah.
But yes, rapid response. Many things you can learn from this year, and it's really exciting at the same time and fun too.
Yeah, of course. I got along great with all the coworkers. Everyone was really supportive the whole time. And I feel like I got to learn a lot from them as well, especially as I just started my career as well.
Yes, and maximized your skill.
Yeah, of course, yes.
Yes. You worked and helped others to achieve the same goal, and finally, some strategies didn't work. What was your learning from the entire process as you sweated blood to support the process?
Yeah, I think from a strategy standpoint, there are different things you can say, about the overall national campaign strategy. But I think in our state in Virginia, I think the only kind of one thing I can kind of talk about is it's a lot of communication that needs to be had, right? Because not only are you, from my position, not only am I having to interact with the state level leadership of Virginia, but the national level Democratic Party, the Harris and her national team as well. And sometimes, because of just how big the scope was of the campaign, things could get lost in communication about what are the goals we have to achieve, what specifically are our targets that we're trying to achieve for that week. I will say that I think, and I don't blame them, but a lot of the focus was very numbers oriented. Like, we had specific doors we had to knock on every single week. We had a call target we had to reach every single week. We had people, voters, we had to recruit, volunteers we had to recruit every single week. And I think sometimes, because you're trying to hit all these numbers, the quality of your persuasion can often be lost in translation. I think an increased focus on making the personal connection and the quality of the pitches we are giving to voters to help support Kamala Harris, um, I think could have been a little bit more prioritized, rather than just you have to reach all these numbers by a certain deadline. But I will say that despite all of that, our team itself was able to openly communicate these issues, come to solutions, and as a result, because of us able to put aside whatever complaints we might have had in order to achieve our mission, that allowed us to achieve the statewide success that we had in electing not only Kamala Harris, but all the candidates that we were supporting on the ballot, from governor to congressman to school board elective, all the way up.
Yes, but besides all those things, you learned how to stick out, like sticking to the things because you believe it.
Yes, absolutely. You can't, because of how many people you're interacting with and how many different, things you have to juggle at once. If you're not authentic to
Yes.
the mission and what you believe you're fighting for,
Yes.
then
Not giving up.
not giving up, then it's really hard to be able to make that impact as meaningful.
Yes, and you have to make an impact without giving up towards your mission.
Yes, absolutely.
You interned in Capitol Hill, where the senators and the House of Representatives craft the law. You had the privilege of working for Senator Mark Warner, Gary Colony, and Indian American Raja Krishnamurti. Being surrounded by influential figure, what was your feeling? What were the key things you saw among those famous figures?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that you can't deny when looking at these representatives is whichever aisle, whichever party or whatever you support, whatever your political beliefs are, their diligence and hard work ethic. I think to be able to have to have, every single day, almost 24-hour work schedules with 30, 40 meetings, 3 news conferences throughout the day. And not only do you have to attend these, you have to have the knowledge of every single issue on your mind. If someone asks about taxes, you have to have your position very clear on that. If someone asks about climate change, you have to have your position very clear on that, stored in your head. I think, and not only that, but because they're public officials, you have to answer all these questions with a smile on your face. You have to be energetic, enthusiastic, because that's what the people see. And I think their ability to be able to do that, even at, some of these representatives are 60, 70, at that age, to be able to uh, want to dedicate their lives to being a public servant, I think was something that was very inspirational. I also think that another takeaway I took was when you see these headlines in the news, when you see these laws being passed, you only kind of see the name, the representative name on it, signed by Mark Warner, signed by Jerry Conley. What people don't know is that behind each letter that's emailed to you, each email, each bill, each memo, news, press release, whatever, there's a whole team that works to from all the way from the intern position to the legislative team to the press team, all the way up to the representative that reviews, edits, and signs off on every single thing that is put out. And I think to be able to, while as busy as they are, the fact that a lot of these representatives are able to maintain such an efficient office environment and office structure and seamless, a well-oiled machine, I think is a testament to their organizational skills and their ability to be on top of everything, no matter how small the matter is.
Yes, basically, when you are in the School of Foreign Service, you can get all the leaders and speakers at your fingertips.
Yes,
That's the most beneficial thing and enormous experience for your future.
Yeah.
Like when you'll be a person of like, when will be a diplomat in future, then it's a connection. Like with the quick connection can open the door of your life.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
And it is a place for hard work and passion, and where everyone can see the skill inside the others, like, and how their like presence affects the others. That's very unique thing in School of Foreign Service and Georgetown.
Yes, absolutely. I think going to Georgetown was a very pivotal experience in my career. I think that specifically the School of Foreign Service is one of the top programs in the world for international relations and government, and I think some really cool aspects of it. I think one, just being in DC, being in the happening place where all these discussions are happening, you get to hear about them, read about them, talk with other students about them, and that helps you gain even more knowledge from those experiences as well.
Yes, definitely you are fortunate enough.
Yes.
After entering in the SFS. What drew you to Walsh University, Georgetown?
Yeah, I think so. As I mentioned earlier, just being in DC, I grew up in Virginia, which is about 20 minutes from Georgetown. So from a young age, I was hearing about Georgetown and how it could be a feeder school and a great facilitator for a career in politics and government. I think one major thing is the staff. Our professors are very hardworking, and not only are they professors just in their day-to-day time where they teach classes, but these because we're in DC, a lot of these professors are ambassadors, former secretaries of state, former Capitol Hill workers who have lived the life. They know all the ins and outs. They can provide guidance and their unique experiences to students while we're learning about these issues for the first time. I think that was a really cool aspect. I think another thing, just being in DC, one thing which you're allowed to do is you can also, which most Georgetown students do, is you can do internships while also be attending school, right? So some of these more illustrious internships, I think during the summer, the whole country's trying to apply for. The whole country's trying to get into these internships, and that can be very competitive. Versus during the spring season or the fall season, they need people working there that are living in DC. So one of the benefits of going to Georgetown is I could do my classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday, Thursday go intern at Capitol Hill. And I think that was a really cool thing that allowed me to gain immediate experience while still being a student that could help me hopefully jump the curve a little bit. And I think the campus itself, the students are great. It's a diverse community. I really like that inside the actual campus of Georgetown, you still feel like you're on a college campus. But the city is also there. If you want to go out into DC, where there's so many things to do, so many places to be, there's never a run out of activity situation. There's always more to do. was a really cool experience just being in the city, of course.
I feel for you, it's a cherry on the top because you were born and raised in George,
Nearby, yeah.
yes, DC,
Yeah.
Washington DC. That's a benefit you got, opportunity. You, the door was open for every, in that Georgetown. And one more thing, I feel that in that from the childhood, like were you like very frequently you used to speak or write, impromptu speaking skill or writing skill you had from your childhood?
Yeah,
That kind of.
yeah, I think so. I think one thing which is beneficial to my childhood was I because we lived in India for 4 years, and even in Virginia and DC, I moved schools 2 to 3 times, and I think that taught me to be able to adapt to many situations quickly, work on my speaking skills. I think throughout middle school and high school, different things I did, such as Model UN, where you have to debate international issues at a table with other students who are taking different positions, or even journalism, where I got to
Yes.
learn how to research, write, and interview. So many different people really helped my communication skills, really helped my speaking skills, my research skills, all which helped me in college, which will then help me in my career moving forward.
Yes, it will help you in the future also. Without script, you can get on the stage and give the speech.
Yeah,
in front of
absolutely.
everyone.
Yes.
That's already you are ready for that. Yes. What's your favorite thing about SFS, School of Foreign Service, as a foreign student? The most valuable aspect of Walsh School of Foreign Service.
Yeah, I think it would have to go back again to the talented staff we have. I think when a lot of these times when these professors, you get professors who are very busy. A lot of times they don't have time for students. They're too busy with their own work. But at the Georgetown School of Foreign Service, not only were these professors, as I said, very experienced in the different fields that the students were studying, international relations, politics, government, they were willing to lend ear to the students. They would write recommendations for you. They would, if you want to talk about an issue that's happening in the world and get their opinion, they're more than happy to talk with you about it during office hours or after class and stuff like that. And I think without their dedication and diligence towards making the students have as much of an integrated experience as they can have, Georgetown wouldn't be as good as they are.
Yes, that you are easily, they are reachable. They are reachable in value based and maybe the close knit community.
Yes, absolutely. It is a small campus, so
Yes.
so that way you really feel connected towards everyone
with each
in
other.
the campus. Yeah.
Yes. And my last question: what advice would you give to the high schooler who is interested in applying in Georgetown? Because I know the walls of Georgetown have the acceptance rate 15%, right?
Yeah, I think it's a little lower actually. I think it's very competitive. I think one thing which is really important is a lot of times people think about you have to have your grades 100%, your SAT score 100%. But I think it's a little bit more than that. I think everyone can get 100 on a test, for example. But what you really have to have is you really have to be authentic. And I think especially with the School of Foreign Service, because politics itself and government, it's not the most you know uh, uh, glamorous field. There's a lot of nuance to it. There's it's not the highest paying field, for example. So to really be able to dedicate your life and career to it, you have to really want to make an impact. And I think when you're applying to Georgetown, explaining why you want to make that impact, what in your life has led you to be able to want to make that impact as well. What experiences have you had growing up that has pushed you into the government, politics, international relations field, and what issues do you care about, and what communities do you care about, and making sure your authenticity shows through that, and that you actually care about it, is what I think sets you apart from the other applicants as well.
Yes, maybe the Georgetown is their unique system of admission, like the maybe the from supplementary essay, right?
A lot of the supplementary essays are focused on which global issues do you care
Yes.
about, what are your past experiences that push you into into the major you want to major.
Yes, that means a significant your summer activities. You have to show them. They want not the random activities, curricular,
They want
extracurricular
to see a story.
Yes,
Essentially.
yes,
Yeah, the
yes.
story of your past experiences and how that's shaped what you want to do in the future.
Want to do, yes, because you are doing something impactful and it's a public service.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, not for the
100%.
money.
No, of course not.
Not for the money, yes. So thank you, Rohan, so much. Thank you so much for sharing your ideas and thoughts and your experience, how you have been through during the campaign of with the Kamala Harris, during in USA. For you are the student of Georgetown University. You have done a lot.
Of course.
You have done a lot. You have gone through a various kind of experience in such a short time.
Short time, yeah.
Yes, yes. So definitely we'll see you in the news or somewhere in the future.
Hopefully.
As a diplomat.
That's the plan. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we never know. So I would like to conclude our conversation today with Rohan Mani. And next week I'll be coming with a new person in a new video. Bye-bye.
Thank you.